What's up, MMO gamers? I got a bit of news for you, which may seem like I'm stating the obvious, but it's finally happening. Yes, TERA's finally shutting down. RIP. This is a sad turn of events, as TERA was one of my favorite MMORPGs back in the days, but with all the recent changes made to the game lately, the game is barely recognizable. As we say goodbye to TERA, I sincerely hope that some company that's not out of their minds picks TERA back up on his feet and goes back to its roots and takes out all the predatory practices and broken pay-to-win and convenience mechanics they implemented to make the game feel as terrible as it does right now. This crap might have worked 10 years ago, but we got BDO now, so I mean, if people want to get views, they can just do that in a better game.
Rosenblatt?
Alright, so let's dive right into it. Gameforge released a newsletter, The Adventure Ends, which is actually kind of sad. This title makes me feel bad, man. Alright, so the newsletter reads, "Hello TERA players, unfortunately we've come bearing bad news. TERA's developers, Bluehole, have decided to cease work on TERA. After much consideration, the team in South Korea has come to the conclusion that they are no longer able to offer you exciting and satisfying content that you deserve. As the last remaining publisher, TERA is with a heavy heart that we must respect Bluehole's decision, and we will also have to shut down the game. TERA servers will be switched off at 10 a.m. CEST, 4 a.m. EDT on the 30th of June 2022. Until then, we'll be running some permanent events in the hope that you'll at least be able to enjoy these events until the final months of Arborea." Did I say that right? Arborea? Man, I was trying not to say butthole the whole time. Such a weird name for a company. Why would you name your company Bluehole? Anyways, the point of the story here is that the 30th of June, the servers will be shutting down, closing their doors. So if you want to get that nostalgia hit, you better get in now before it closes. And another important thing to mention is that new account creations or registrations will be ceased on May 31st, which is next month. Then it proceeds to say, after nearly 10 long years, wow, 10 years, the TERA legend must sadly come to an end. Together we've braved so many of Arborea's, it's so hard to say, perils, fought valiantly against Argons, made many new friends, and gone to countless adventures. We would like to thank you for your loyalty and for accompanying us on this long journey and for being such an amazing community. Alright, and then it goes on to show a link for frequently asked questions, which prepare for the funeral of TERA, unfortunately. The key takeaways is that there will be no new account registrations after May 31st, and there will be no new TERA Club purchases, which is their in-game store, and the servers will be disconnected on June 30th. Wow. Now I want to share a message from a TERA fan / whale.
You bastards! Eh? How can you do this to me, eh? All the money I spent on this game.
So I guess this is it, and this is finally the end of TERA. This was a really great game back in the day, and they nuked it all with the dysfunctionality they added for your convenience. They broke so many things in the game that you had to pay for the benefit of buying a fix for it. It's not even funny. To my knowledge, TERA was one of the first fully functional action combat MMORPGs, and still remains to be one of the best action combat systems to date. You really have to aim with this game, and it's pretty satisfying to actively dodge someone's attack or hit someone with a charge attack. This is the first time I could remember doing this in an MMORPG, and I thought all future MMOs would adopt this style of gameplay, but it doesn't seem to be the case. Character models still hold up, kinda, but the game is still starting to show its age due to the directions that devs have started to go out with the washed out dark textures instead of the large grassy fields and high fantasy glowy trees and stuff that they had with the original TERA. Big mistake.
Big mistake. Big. Huge.
The original world designs were beautiful, and I really liked the high fantasy and lore. When I say lore, I mean the world itself and the character types and personalities. The story in this game was pretty much like insert here for a generic storyline, but the world they created suggested a wide range of possibilities for lore. Some of TERA's cons were the pay-to-win aspects and the pay-to-convenience elements that inconvenienced the player or made PvP super unfair. You can really tell when you jump into Freywind Canyon and you get one-shotted by a Sork you just bashed with your strongest attack 15 times in a row when you're a tank, and then you compare that to Corsairs with equalized gear, and it's completely backwards. Which leads me to TERA's strongest pro, in my opinion. The equalized battlegrounds were a lot of fun, and it was a rare moment for a Korean MMO where You can last more than 2 seconds in a group PvP without a bunch of whales 1 or 2 shotting you. I hope that more MMORPGs adopt this style in the future. Corsair's Stronghold was definitely a bunch of fun, and also that one with the baby BAMs, where the BAMs had diapers, and yeah, it was a little weird, but it was fun, even though it was out of place. Terra's Equalized PvP was just a lot of fun. It was pretty addictive, and it was nice. They really messed this one up, and I feel like they could have gone autopilot and done nothing, and they would have done a better job in terms of player retention. It's like they doubled down on a lot of bad things in the game, and they rushed a lot of the new zones, which made the graphics look even more outdated. This was so strange because the existing zones in Terra were actually quite pretty, and I feel like they should have just reused the same zones and did more of the same instead of going with a dark, low poly texture fantasy theme that they seem to have now. Instead of making the game great again, they doubled down on stupidity by streamlining the early stages by almost completely removing them from the game. Those were the nicest places. These were the best looking zones, and if anything, they should have just copy and pasted these zones. The new zone textures and colors really look washed out, and in the new content and gameplay, it just got infinitely worse with the BAMs. They take way too long to kill. They take like 10 to 20 minutes to kill. It's ridiculous. Terra will truly be missed. Although I haven't played it for 8 years, I felt that this game could have really turned around and focused more on the balanced PvP like Corsair's Stronghold, which was really fun, and focusing on the high fantasy lore that was in Terra's old content that they chopped out of the game or streamlined. I hope someday some rich nerd will come along and buy the rights to Terra and give it the treatment it deserves. I'm sure the game will stay alive on private servers for a little bit, but let's watch Terra's launch trailer together, just one last time, and say goodbye to an old friend.
R.I.P. Ricky!
Jet, come on, Jet, revive me.